The Eligio Bishop trial has been an absolute dumpster fire. Honestly, I don't know how this judge or the attorney representing Eligio Bishop, aka Nature Boy, can even stand being in the same room as him. Today, I'm going to bring you all of the things that we know right now and dish on the tea because let me tell you, it is piping hot. And I'm a millennial, so I'm probably not even using that terminology right, but I just need some kind of metaphor for the craziness that is this case. But I am so excited to see justice be served. So take a nice deep breath because it is time to let the fresh air in. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're brand new. My name is Erin, and I am fascinated by all things cult, true crime, and unique spiritual practices. My goal with this channel is to bring awareness and understanding of cults and cult-like groups and try to understand how people get sucked in. I want this to be a place where we empathize and try to understand the victims of these groups. I post a couple of videos a week on one of these topics, so if you're interested in this stuff, I would absolutely love to have you here. And I want to just jump right in because there is so much to cover here. And honestly, I won't be able to cover everything. And I'm going to be like refreshing my browser because I am recording this on Thursday, February 29th, which could be the last day of the trial. I'm not sure how long jury deliberation will be because they are literally making closing statements as I am recording this video, but I was like, I have to get this out there. I've been waiting all day trying to get all of the updates so I could hopefully give you guys a guilty verdict and celebrate with you today. It's the 1st of March. Let's party. But unfortunately, we are still waiting with breath that is bated. This man has tried to fire his attorney mid-trial, is complaining that the judge won't let him do that, and then he is just not showing up to hear testimonies when his lawyer is working for his defense, and these are supposed to be witnesses now that are in support of him. But there are so many updates. It is a wild, wild story, y'all. So today we are going to talk all about Nature Boy, aka Eligio Bishop's trial. Now, if you have no idea who I'm talking about, I have covered him a couple of times on the channel. You'll find that video right here. Once again, there are so many people bringing light to this situation and a lot of people who have been talking about this for almost the entirety that this group has been in existence. King World has the Sean Wavy Davy show. We have Nick at Night. We have the Tea. We have so many people who are covering it. And actually, Nick at Night has been, and I hope I'm saying her name right, she has been doing an incredible job of sharing the testimonies like every single day. So if you want in-depth recordings of these testimonies, she's your girl. She is doing an incredible job. So let's jump right into it. I want to just share with you the shenanigans that Nature Boy is doing because it is absolutely crazy that he thinks that he really has the audacity. He came to trial with all of the audacity. I don't think there's any left for the rest of us. So the trial started literally a week ago on February 22nd, and he was actually offered a plea deal. The R-word charge would be dropped down to a lesser charge, and he would have to register as a offender, and he would not be able to make any money off of this trial, his concepts, and he would actually not be allowed to live in the state of Georgia anymore, except for one county, which I don't know exactly why. Maybe it's because there's a child involved. I'm not exactly sure why they would only let him be in one county. So if he pled guilty, he would have to be on the offender list, and he would also have to spend 20 to 30 years in jail. And after a lot of back and forth, he decided that he was not going to do that and went on with the trial, which I think was kind of surprising for all of us. But he was like, vehement about not having to be on the registry. And it's like, dude, if you are found guilty of the R word and you literally spend the rest of your life in prison, because that could be his sentence. And after this behavior, I would not be surprised at all if this judge made sure he was locked up for the rest of his life and had no contact with his family, his child, or anyone who he impacted by these terrible things that he's done. The trial moved forward that day, and the jury heard the testimony of one of the wives, one of his victims. And just because this is such a sensitive case, I'm not going to be sharing any victims' names. I'm going to honor the fact that the judge has decided to not publicly share who the people are who came forward. And although a lot of us know who came forward, I want to respect the judge's decision on that. So, for the first day in trial, there was a lengthy testimony from his victim, who used to be one of his quote unquote wives. And we heard a little bit about that in the pre-trial hearings. So, if you are curious about that, please watch this video here. We go through the entire pre-trial transcript. Moving into the second day of the trial, the prosecution actually brought in a cult expert, Rick Allen Ross. I called him Rick Ross in my previous video, and a lot of you kind of laughed and called me out for it, but his name is Rick Ross. He's just not the rapper. His name is Rick Allen Ross, and he actually created the cult education website. He's been in the game for decades, and listening to his testimony was actually quite fascinating. I learned a few things myself. And once again, I want to say the prosecution is doing an excellent job of setting up cults and cult dynamics and what exactly goes on in a cult. They also brought on a DV expert, and they're really trying to paint the picture that these women, although they were willingly in the cult, they were not willingly staying in the cult, and they were not actually consenting to the acts that Eligio Bishop was forcing them into. And getting the jury to better understand the cult dynamic is so incredibly important in this case. And once again, it could set the precedent for future cases. When we talk about how can we get other cults shut down, like when we look at Twin Flames Universe, when we look at Scientology, they have to be breaking some kind of law, because in America, you have the freedom to practice any religion that you want. And coercive control is not fully understood. Undue influence is not fully understood on the law enforcement side. But the more cases that we have like this that set that precedent can only help victims of cults or survivors of cults in the future. And listening to Rick Allen Ross's testimony was so informative. They did such an incredible job. And then, of course, during the cross, Eligio Bishop's lawyer tried to like discredit him because he only had a high school diploma. And I know, arguably, yeah, like you might want someone to have some kind of higher education. But I mean, this guy has been taking down cults since literally the 70s. And it was really funny because Eligio Bishop, Nature Boy, has thousands of videos on his YouTube channel, and Bishop's lawyer was trying to call Rick Allen Ross out for only watching like 12 of them. And Rick Allen Ross was like, I was able to determine that Eligio Bishop is a dangerous authoritarian cult leader very quickly, and got a little bit snarky too. He was like, well, I guess you didn't watch the 6 videos I watched, because those tell you all you need to know about Nature Boy. So day 3 of the trial was Monday, February 26th, and prosecution was still bringing their witnesses up to the stand. The jury was able to listen to the interview that Bishop gave with detectives, where he admitted to posting the explicit video on the internet, but he was doing it for educational purposes. And it's like, you just admitted to the thing that you're being charged for, but okay, buddy. And then we also listened to some other witness testimony from people that were in the group, and it was an eye-opening, really, really fascinating testimony. Again, Nick at Night has these full testimonies on her channel, so highly, highly recommend you check them out if you're curious. Again, I'm going to try to make a video going through all of these testimonies. I'm just trying to get us to the crazy stuff that I want to get to. And we are about to get to it because it happened on day 4. I'm talking Tuesday, just a few days ago. So Monday night, the judge, who is a badass woman, by the way, she was feeling ill and not very well. So she took a test and ended up testing positive. So she disclosed that to the courtroom on Tuesday, the 4th day of trial, and everyone was fine with her wearing a mask. I mean, she is up behind these glass encasement, I suppose. She offered masks to everyone in the room. The witnesses would be up behind these glass walls. And I think that Nature Boy is just trying to find a way to get out of this trial, which is just laughable if you ask me, because it goes to show he really doesn't know much about the matrix that we're all living in, and he's so much smarter than all of us. But it's like, dude, you can't just like try to cancel a trial that you are in the middle of. And get this, he also tried to fire his attorney. And I have the full video, and we are going to watch it right now because it is hilarious.
The state's suggestion is that the court made clear that Mr. Bishop has two options under the Sixth Amendment, and he needs to select from one of those two options.
Yes. All right, Mr. Bishop. The options are: 1, you can proceed with Mr. Booker. 2, you can fire Mr. Booker and you can proceed pro se. If you want to do that, we have to have what's called a Ferretti hearing, and I need to advise you on the record of all of the dangers in doing so. The COVID issue has been resolved. The attorneys are fine going forward. The jurors are fine going forward. I'm wearing a mask. It's not an issue. So CDC guidelines are changing. Anyways.
So he was like complaining about the trial moving forward. He was trying to get the trial to be delayed until she tested negative, which, look, I understand there's a lot we still don't know about this virus, but it's so clear that he is looking for any excuse he can in order to delay the proceedings of this trial. He is so desperate at this point. So this judge, I just applaud her. It's got to be so hard dealing with this BS. And his attorney is sitting right next to him, just like, you're gonna try to fire me, bro? Like, and the judge is saying basically, you can fire your attorney. That is your right, but we're in the middle of trial. I'm not going to give us time for you to find other representation. You should have thought of that before you went in and decided to have this attorney. Like, what? Imagine this attorney just sitting there. I'd be like, okay, dude, I don't even want you. I don't want to represent you. I don't want to be here either. I have to be here. It must be such a nightmare dealing with this person.
So that ship has sailed. We are going forward with this trial. We're in the middle of it. Okay, if you want to have a different attorney, you don't get to choose a different attorney in the middle of the trial. We don't stop for you to get a new lawyer. You either proceed with Mr. Booker or you proceed by yourself, period. Two choices. Those are the only ones you have.
Is that on record?
Yes, everything is on the record.
Okay, I would like to fire my attorney if I can find new counsel.
That is not an option. Okay, you're not listening to me, Mr. Bishop. The options are proceed with Mr. Booker or proceed without an attorney. Those are the two options you have at this juncture, period. Nobody in the back can help you. Look at me. I'm talking to you. Two options: proceed with Mr. Booker or proceed pro se and represent yourself, which is a terrible, terrible, terrible idea.
Why is that my only two options?
That's the law, Mr. Bishop, period. That's the law.
So I'm not allowed to seek other counsel?
Not in the middle of trial. No, sir.
Even if I'm not being represented right?
Sir, that's...
She must be so tired. How many this is the beginning of the video. We have several more minutes of basically this kind of exchange. I thought you were God, Nature Boy. I thought you knew everything. I thought you were smarter than everyone. I thought you knew so much better than all of us living in this modern day world.
The ruling. Do not argue with me.
Is that on record?
Everything is on record, Mr. Bishop. Everything is on the record. So what do you want to do? You either proceed with Mr. Booker or you proceed without an attorney. But we're not stopping the trial for you to get a new lawyer. That's not how this works.
What about the COVID?
We've already discussed that, sir. You have a mask, I have a mask, we have hand sanitizers, the jurors are fine with it, counsel's fine with it, we are way more than 5 feet away from each other.
I don't know what he's doing, like, looking around the room. Like, no one can talk to you. No one can give you advice. Like, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing? Oh my gosh. And the thing is, like, they can't show the jurors, but I think that they are in here during this exchange, and this is not good for your case, dude. It's embarrassing.
So that's, you're trying everything you can to not go forward with this trial, but
Because I'm not being.
I mean, of course, he's gonna keep claiming it's malicious prosecution. Like he's trying to make it look like they are taking his rights away and they're not giving him a fair shot and the attorney he has isn't representing him. Of course, it can't be that like maybe he actually is in the wrong. Of course, that can't be the case. He's going against the judge, going to claim that the judge is being unfair. All of this BS because he's so afraid. I mean, if I were him watching this trial play out and watching what the prosecution had against me, I would be terrified because they're doing an excellent job of proving that he is a cult leader.
okay, you are entitled to your opinion, Mr. Bishop. I'm not going to argue with you, but we are moving forward with the trial, one way or the other. If you're concerned about COVID and you want to stay in the back and do not want to participate in the trial, that is also your right. And we'll try you an extension. That is considered a voluntary absence from court.
Really?
Really?
Because I don't want to be in here and be exposed to COVID.
Then you can sit in the back and we can try the case in your
So I
absence.
don't have the right to have any opinion about this.
I don't even understand that question. Those are your choices.
Meaning like make a decision on my behalf. If I
Okay.
wouldn't.
Mr. Bishop, this is the last time I'm going to tell you your options, okay? As far as counsel, you either proceed with Mr. Booker or you represent yourself, period. You do not get to stop the trial to hire a new attorney. Number one. Number two, COVID. I've discussed this with counsel. We've mentioned it to the jurors. Everybody is fine with going forward. We have masking.
They're also so far away. Like they are probably more than 12 feet away from each other. And I just think it's funny that he's still playing the victim. I don't have a say in this. I don't have an option. She's giving you your options. If every person who was convicted of a crime was going through trial, discovering that like, oh, this trial's probably not going to go the way that I want it to go, and they were like, "Oh, pause, sorry. Can I just like switch up my counsel and come up with like a better like tactic, a better strategy because I just don't really like how this is going for me right now." We would never have an end to trials because every criminal would do that. Like it's absurd to me that this 42-year-old man is acting like an actual child. I think he is terrified. I think he hates that there is a woman who is in charge of him and the fact that it's a white woman because the judge is a white woman. And I mean, he obviously, melanation is one of the first names of the group. It was Ethereans and then melanation. And one of his main ideologies was that Black people were smarter, and the darker you were, the more elevated, the more intellectual you were. So I'm sure that him being talked literally down to by a judge, and a white woman judge having all of the power, holding all of the cards, I would bet is enraging him. Like, that is just my speculation, my guess. I know his ideologies have changed a lot over the years, but what do you guys think? Because it would not surprise me if he is just fuming because he is deeply threatened because the prosecution has a really strong case. They're presenting the information incredibly well, and all he can do is scream malicious prosecution, even though he's admitted that he thinks he's God and has admitted that he posted explicit videos online. So there you go. There are most of the counts that he's being charged with right now. And he's just so desperate to get out of it. And it's honestly almost laughable that he's going on like this. If I was this judge, I'd be like, you know what's making me more sick than this Rona? You, dude. And someone pointed out in the comment section of where I got this clip from Court TV where they were like, "Oh, all of a sudden Nature Boy's all worried about COVID, but like I thought that you didn't believe in disease and you didn't believe in stuff like that." I mean, there was a woman who passed away because he told her to stop taking her medication. He also didn't care if anyone had an STD because diseases weren't real. They were only found in this modern world. So all of a sudden, he's all up in arms about potentially getting the Rona. What?
In place, we have provided you with a mask, we have hand sanitizer. This has been, COVID's been going on for 4 years, folks. We got to figure out how to live with this. We are way more than 5 feet apart, and the CDC guidelines are in the process of changing anyway with respect to the isolation rules. Well, they haven't changed yet. They are in the process of changing them to eliminate the isolation requirements and just to require masks. I am wearing a mask. I will wear a mask throughout the entire trial. So that if you're not comfortable with that, and you want to sit in lockup during the course of the trial, that is your right. And that will be considered a voluntary absence from the proceeding.
Will I be able to hear?
I love her because she's basically, he has no power at all in this situation. She's basically like, you can either move forward because we have scheduled this trial and it's been 2 years since you got locked up and we have to finish this trial because we've had it on the books for a while now. And you are going to sit through this trial and it's going to go on whether you're here or not and whether you have representation or not. I mean, she is, like I said, a badass.
Back there. Nope, you wouldn't be able to hear it. So it's up to you.
So,
2 choices, sir. Proceed or go in the back. That's it.
and this is on record.
Everything, yes. Everything is on record. Everything I'm saying is on record.
Everything in a court proceeding is on record. It's also being live streamed and it's also being recorded and it's also being transcribed, buddy. So, like, stop asking that question.
Everything I'm saying is on the record. So the appellate courts can hear it. If they think I handled it improperly, they'll have their discretion to do whatever they deem appropriate. So you need to decide now what you're doing.
He's just trying to waste as much time as possible. And I love that he's actually now asking his lawyer questions. And the lawyer, I would just be like, didn't you just try to fire me, dude? What is going on?
Do you want to stay in the courtroom for the remainder of the proceeding, Mr. Bishop, and participate in this trial?
Participate?
Yes. Testify, not testify, be here when witnesses
So
testify.
whether I'm here or not, this is going to go forward.
Yes, that is correct. That is correct.
Who will be representing me if I fire my lawyer?
I don't know if you heard that, but he asked, so whether I'm here or not, this is going to go forward. And she's like, yes.
You will represent yourself.
And then he asks, who would represent me if I fire my lawyer? She's like, you dude, we've been through this.
Those are your
Okay, and
choices.
if I represent myself and not choose to be in the court, then who will represent? Then who?
Nobody.
Okay, well, I want to fire my attorney and not be in court.
Okay. All right. So that
He really thinks he's doing something. He really thinks, well, if I'm not here and I don't have a lawyer, then the case just won't go forward. The trial will end. And it's like, no, dude, there will just be nobody to rebuttal. There will be nobody to try to strike things that witnesses say from the record. There will be nobody to defend you and the actions that you are being convicted of. Like, what part of this do you not understand? Like, this is a big deal, dude. This is a huge deal. What you did to these women is a huge deal. How you treated all of your followers is a big deal. And just, I mean, I don't diagnose people on my channel, and I'm not saying that he has narcissism, but this is some narcissistic behavior, if you ask me. That's just my opinion, but dang, I cannot fathom treating people this way, one, being in total denial that I treated them this way too. And then 3, talking back to a judge, the judge who is going to be sentencing me in the end. Do you think that she is not going to consider all of your behavior for the last several days of this trial and be like, yeah, you're going to go away for the rest of your life, and I don't want you to have any contact with the outside world? What do you think you're going to accomplish here, Eligio? What? It's it's shocking, it's funny. It's if it wasn't so serious, like it would be hilarious, but it's ironic. It's just like we're seeing someone in real time who has always claimed that he has power over everything. He's all knowing. He is God. He has the secret to your happiness. He always had control, and he totally has no control, and he's desperate right now to regain that control.
Means, if that is the case, you want to fire Mr. Booker and you want to remain in the courtroom. You want to remain in lockup, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that means there will be if you fire Mr. Booker, that means no witnesses are going to testify on your behalf.
I mean, honestly, she is like being so kind to him. If you think about it, she doesn't have to keep explaining to him, like, this is what's going to happen if you make this decision, and it will not be good for you. She doesn't have to say all this to him, but she is, because she's like, it's all honestly smarter for her legally to say, like, I am telling you all of the risks if you make this choice. So later when you try to claim like malintent or anything like that, or mistrial, you won't have anything to stand on because it's all on record that I warned you that this would happen. So she is like saving herself, but also like being incredibly forthcoming and kind and being like, if you do this, these are the consequences.
We will be presenting no evidence, and we will move right into the closing arguments.
So are you saying that I'm not allowed to defend myself?
No, she isn't.
That's not what I'm saying at all. You have a right to defend yourself. You have Mr. Booker here, who again is doing an outstanding job on your behalf.
Not in my
Okay. I told you your options, so decide what you want to do. Do you want to go talk to your client in the back? Okay, let's take 5 minutes.
If he wants to, we'll make a motion.
Go talk.
I mean, can you imagine? I feel like if I was in that courtroom, I would just be like, it's utterly shocking. It really, really is. Also, I want to mention that Eligio's attorney also asked to drop 3 of the counts, which were the revenge charges, and that motion to drop those charges was obviously denied. And so after threatening to fire his lawyer, deciding to fire his lawyer, he then changed his mind after speaking to his lawyer and decided to proceed with the trial. But the trial was delayed a day, so there was no trial on Wednesday. And then the trial reconvened on Thursday, the 29th of February. So somehow, in the time that they were braked from trial, Eligio decides to go online and live stream. I don't have confirmation if this was on Instagram or Bigo, the app that they used to use when they were live streaming a lot of their stuff, but there is a phone call that he made online. I'll try to link it down below so you can listen to it in its entirety. It's about 25 minutes, and he's talking to someone and venting to them about the judge, how like everyone's treating him badly, how it's malicious prosecution. I mean, he is just going in, and I'm just like, dude, if you want to prove that you are innocent and that all of this is malicious prosecution, your actions are proving the opposite of that. Your actions are proving that you're capable of this incredibly outlandish and disturbing and destructive behavior. That's what you are doing. And why can't you see that, dude? Like, he is so delusional. He thinks he's doing all the right things, claiming malicious prosecution and trying to live stream it. Like, how? Also, how? Who in this jail is like getting this guy a phone? He's not even, I'm pretty sure he's not even supposed to be contacting people who are still in the group. So it's all just like so mind-blowing. So I'm filming this, like I said, the evening of February 29th, trying to give you guys the most up-to-date information. And so I've just been like refreshing all day long because we had another incredible exchange between Eligio Bishop and the judge this morning when he actually decided that he was not going to remain present for the rest of the trial and he was just going to observe it. So let's take a look at that clip right now.
No, you're fine.
That Mr. Bishop was on a live through a jail call yesterday during which he indicated his desire that the case resolve in a mistrial so that the case would be assigned to another judge.
Oh, I'm sure. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, Mr. Bishop, I know you're doing everything you possibly can to try to get this case to go away, or at least get away from me. But that's not how it works. So, okay, we've got the feed going. So
Mr.
we.
Bishop has indicated he did not make that statement on the jail call. So I want to make sure.
Okay. All right, there wasn't. It's interesting how he was able to post an Instagram live post from the jail, but somebody emailed my office that there was some post. I wouldn't, don't talk about it, Mr. Bishop. It's not going to help you. All right. Yeah. All right, we're going to take a quick break so we can get the Zoom link.
I just want to show you all a clip from his jail call that he made, I believe, Wednesday sometime. What I'm guessing is he called someone and they're the ones who recorded the call and put it live because he's just like, you have to hear my side of what happened today. And so let's just listen to his side just for funsies.
The team went to the detectives, sent them all these videos and stuff like they do that in every place else I've been. They were supposed to do a proper investigation. Had they did that, they would have realized, oh, this man ain't do nothing. But they said, we're going to get him on something. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this parade up of a cult leader. We're going to see a real judge. The judge is against me, too. That's why they're using this judge. Because if I had Asha Jackson, who is the chief judge, who told her to go home yesterday, I don't know if y'all see the video clip of when I told her I'm not comfortable being in here right now. And she's like, oh, you have no other choice. We're going to move forward with this with or without you. I'm like, how do you move it forward in the trial without me? My lawyer's giving me ill advice because he's telling me to come in here, during, when you having COVID, he's putting my life in danger. So that's not good advice from my lawyer for him to tell me to come in here. So I would like to fire my lawyer. You're not firing your lawyer right now. Your lawyer's doing a really good job. Why? Because he's doing things the way you want to do it, railroading me. You're not giving us any objections. My lawyer have it on file. She's going with the prosecutor the whole way. She's being biased the whole time. And obviously she has attitude with me and doesn't like me because it's caught on camera. So I'm not getting a fair trial and it's coming out. She's shaking, or if you're watching her closely, she's shaking in her boots because my lawyer's giving her law and giving her objections that make sense, but they're trying to find any little thing to get away with what they're doing. They're like, oh, yeah, well, there's this one case. There's one case law right here. I'm like, oh, my God, are you serious?
Lots to unpack there, buddy. The prosecution is sharing all of their witnesses because that's how trials work. The first half is one side gets to share their argument and your lawyer gets to cross-examine all of those witnesses and object and all that fun stuff. And then the other side has the opportunity, after that side rests their case, then you get to bring in all of your witnesses and all of the people that advocate for you. And then the other lawyer has the opportunity to cross-examine those witnesses. So it's just like, obviously, you don't understand how this works. The judge has to remain unbiased, but your behavior, once again, the accountability is just like zip, not a zilch. You need to take accountability. You need to behave in the courtroom. And I love how the reason you want to fire your lawyer is because your lawyer is saying we should proceed. It's not going to look good if you're the only person in this room that has a concern about moving forward. That will not look good. So we should look good. We should stay here and continue with these proceedings. And then Eligio's like, well, I'm going to fire you because you're putting my life at risk. Like, whoa, talk about blowing out of proportion. Also, I thought that you didn't believe that these things existed. You were fine in Hawaii when you were breaking all the Rona rules. You were fine when you got arrested and then forced to leave Hawaii because you broke quarantine. You were fine being out and about during then. So what's the difference now? Why are you all of a sudden concerned? Because you want to delay the trial. And they can do the trial without you. If you don't feel comfortable being in the room, they just said that you could observe or go to the back of the room, but you keep flip-flopping. You want to be a part of it, you don't want to be a part of it. And if they don't let you not be a part of it, if they don't stop the trial because you want to stop the trial, you're going to claim malicious prosecution. He's trying to make it look like this judge has something against him, like personally, because he's trying so desperately to make this a mistrial, like I believe the prosecution has stated. Oh, if you thought that was it, there's more.
All right. Have you discussed his ability to testify or not testify in that context?
And that's another objection that we would have, Judge, because obviously his ability to testify and to defend his case from the jail, he doesn't feel like it's a choice or an option that he has. He's happy to be in court if the CDC guidelines are followed, in his opinion, but if the CDC guidelines are not followed, he feels compelled to follow his own health and his own best interest. And so he is going to go to the jail and observe his trial there. He understands that his ability to testify, and I believe his ability to testify will certainly be encumbered if he chooses to testify. But at this point, I think he's going to take his own health over anything else. So I advise him of his right to testify or not testify. I do think that he will not choose to testify under these circumstances, but you can certainly inquire of him and explain to him his right, because obviously that's what the court will do.
All right. Well, the trial is going forward. We've been through that significantly.
Okay.
We, just for the record, we did recess Tuesday afternoon for the rest of the day Tuesday and all day yesterday. We are back here. It is Thursday, and we are ready to go forward. We had a company come in and sanitize the courtroom. We have a machine, an air circulation filtration system going in the courtroom. I provided masks for anybody who wants them, spectators, anybody, jurors, lawyers. And you can have 2 masks. You want a double mask, you can double mask. I am going to continue to wear a mask during the trial. And I think, frankly, folks are safer now than they were on Monday, because now I'm wearing a mask. We have shields? Where's get him a shield? What's the... Okay.
So this woman just said, oh, there's a shield. Like we could bring shields, like face shields to everyone. So the judge is offering Nature Boy a face shield.
What did we do? All right, put it over the mask. All right, we can... Where is it? Will you get one? Sure. Okay, we have a face shield too. We can put a face shield on him. Deputies, are they okay with that?
He's not going to want a face shield, Judge.
He doesn't want a face shield.
He's not asking for a face shield.
I understand.
He's indicating that the court is still positive for COVID, and because of that, he does not want to be in the courtroom. He's elected to take advantage of his own health. He's entitled to do that.
Sure.
That's...
All right, just make sure the record is clear that I am not instructing that he leave the courtroom. My preference is for him to stay and participate in his defense with his attorney. However, if he does not want to be here, we will make arrangements for him to observe the proceedings from the jail courtroom.
But he does want to be here, Judge. He just
it's his choice. So I want him here. Everybody else is here. Everybody else is fine. Jurors are here ready to go. Attorneys are here ready to go. The only person that has a problem is Mr. Bishop. So that is his right, and I'm not infringing upon that. If he is uncomfortable being in this courtroom, I will consider it a voluntary absence, and we will bring him back to the jail, where he will put on his orange jumpsuit, and he will observe the trial from the jail courtroom.
He is aware of that, Judge, and if he would just go ahead and go through his right to testify or not.
Yep. All right, Mr. Bishop, Mr. Bishop, do you understand? I need to know you understand these things. Mr. Bishop.
Judge,
Yeah.
Mr. Bishop would like to inquire if the court would state on the record whether you're still positive for COVID or not.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know. I was positive on Monday night. I feel a million times better today than I did on Monday night.
He just wants the record to reflect that you're here in court. You could be potentially still positive for COVID, and his options are to be positive, be in the courtroom with someone who's positive for COVID or not.
All right, we've gone through, yeah, I understand. You've made your record, Mr. Bishop, you've made your point. It's interesting to me for all sorts of reasons that that's your concern, but at any rate.
I love that she's like, this is interesting. Because I thought you didn't care. All of a sudden now diseases are real? All of a sudden they're not just like man-made and in our heads, right? Like, come on. You let STDs run rampant in your cult, but if someone in the courtroom has the Rona who is 20 feet away from you, now you're concerned. And I get it, guys. Like, personally, I wouldn't want to be in a room with someone that had Rona. I don't care how far away they are from me, okay? However, she asked everyone in the courtroom if they were comfortable with her being there, wearing a mask, being that far away from them. And everybody besides Nature Boy said they were fine with it. So Eligio was escorted out of the courthouse, brought back to the jail, and observed the proceedings from the jail via Zoom. And it was his supporters, his witnesses that were on the stand. And one of them was forced out of the courtroom because he started saying that Eligio Bishop is being maliciously prosecuted. And the judge had to give this person several warnings to stop saying stuff like that and to watch his mouth. And then after he said he's being maliciously prosecuted, the judge was like, you just lost your in-court privileges, get out. During another witness's testimony, they claimed that the only reason another member slapped a member was because of the Will Smith, Chris Rock slap that had happened. But then prosecutors cross-examined and said, are you aware that that slap occurred after the incident in question? It's like, is this a movie? Is this real? I am literally on pins and needles right now because the jury has been deliberating for about 15 to 20 minutes. I am recording this at 7:34 on Thursday, February 29th. When I say I've been trying to follow this as closely as possible to keep you guys updated as quickly as possible, I'm literally waiting with bated breath. So hopefully we hear something before the end of the night and I'll be able to post a community post. I wish I could give you guys all some good news right now, but in the meantime, I am just so curious. What do you guys think? I mean, there was so much shenanigans going on in this video. I can't believe that Nature Boy really thought that he had any say in what was going on. Like, when you are on trial for doing the things that you've done to these women, you don't get a say anymore. A lot of your rights are stripped away. You don't get to say, oh, well, you need to just believe my side. If you don't believe me, you must have something against me. That's not how this works. So if the jury finds Eligio Bishop guilty, there is no doubt in my mind that this judge is going to punish him to the full extent. That will be fascinating to learn, to discover. And again, I just want to say thank you to the victims, the survivors who have come forward. Thanks to you, you are potentially saving many other people from the terrible things that Nature Boy has done and has been doing. And you are setting a amazing precedent for future survivors of cult leaders. We are going to be able to point to this case to help us better understand coercive control and undue influence. And it's great for women who have been victims of DV violence because we're also going to be able to look to this case to help better understand why, if you're in a dangerous relationship, why it's so hard to leave those situations sometimes. I really hope that this helps us believe women more often. And I'm just so hopeful about the outcome and the verdict of this case. I really think it can change the trajectory of cases across the globe and also here in the South. So I'm eager to hear what you guys think. I'm eager to share good news with you guys. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. I can't wait to chat with you guys in the comments down below. Please remember to leave me your input, and I really, really appreciate you for your support. And please send positive, healing, supportive energy to the survivors who were brave enough to come forward in this case. Thank you guys so much. Stay safe out there. Stay a little skeptical. And have a great rest of your weekend. Thanks, y'all. Bye.